Guys, in the last couple of videos in this series, we have taken this 1962 barn find Miller Meteor Cadillac hearse, and we have spent about less than $1,000 getting the car running with a $500 junkyard engine. And soon, within the month, we will have it driving. But this isn't going to be that video. This video is going to be about a walkthrough of the car, where it came from, where it's going, and how I'm going to make it an ECTO-1, because some of you might not really know as much about these cars as me. I'm going to show you what's in store for the car, how we're going to take this car and my 1962 wrecked ambulance and combine them into one amazing ECTO-1 replica. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, a good amount of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you like the kind of videos I've been posting lately, consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. And if not, enjoy the video. So let's get started on what the actual car is and where it came from. So this is a 1962 Cadillac hearse. There's a couple differences you'll notice from the original car in the movie, but there's a couple things that I liked about it, which is the reason why I picked it. First thing you're going to notice is the front end looks nothing alike. The 1959, I mean, every year Cadillac had a different front clip. 1962 looks almost the furthest away from a 1959. Obviously, there's nothing I can use on the front clip. Also on the back, you'll notice the fins are a different shape, quarter panels, the bumper's a different shape. And the biggest difference you'll see on the side is that it has these sail panels. It has these metal wraparounds instead of windows. And with that little funeral trim, whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called. A couple of these things you'll think that maybe they're unchangeable, but the reason I wanted this car exactly is because it was built by the same company, Miller Meteor. That's the company that made all the ambulances and hearses that they used in Ghostbusters. They were a 1959 Miller Meteor Futura duplex. Now, there's a couple things I can't change about this to make it exactly like the ECTO-1. One thing being the doors. The door shape, I'll just bring you over for that. So here we are on the side of the car, and it's going to be one of the first things you'll notice that is completely different than the ECTO-1. On the ECTO-1, the doors wrap up to about here, and this metal is included in the door, and then it continues over onto this next one. Now, yeah, that is something I cannot change, but it's something that you probably wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't told you. If you ever see a ECTO-1 replica out in the wild, even though they are, some say they're common, but they are still a pretty rare car. A good half of them, I would say, you're going to notice that this is actually flush because this is not the exact same spec as that car. The one they used in Ghostbusters was an ambulance slash hearse combo. Well, one of them I think was, I'm just going to hold the camera now. One of them was, but the other one, you'll notice in the Shadows of Legends video I uploaded last year, was a full-time ambulance or a fire department vehicle. So some of them, I don't know why, but just some of them, the spec was to have the doors going up to there. Doesn't really make a difference to me. I could give less of a shit. But going down here, you'll see that sail panel I was mentioning. There are a couple things I will definitely need to modify, but it's not going to be as hard as you think. And I'll go into more detail on that when I go over to the ambulance. But all this metal needs to be cut out, and then you can basically just put the windows in. Now, the windows are hard enough to find as it is, but another thing you might not notice I'll need to change is I will have to either get rid of or take the one off of my ambulance. This little gutter along this door, the gutter is supposed to go all the way and wrap to about here, and it doesn't. So I'm going to need to take one. Now, going down the side of the car, let's start at the very back. You'll see the fin is a much lower, just completely different shape. It's also got this long body line, almost the entire length of the car that juts out. Now, this is a 1961 or 62 Cadillac feature that you'll notice a lot of things about this car. It is actually built on a 1959 or 60 chassis. That is why I picked this car, is because it looks so different, but it actually is the same. First hint is this window. Now, a 61 to 62 Cadillac sedan or coupe, this A-pillar is actually bent this way, and the window is completely different. This is a 1959 to 60 Series 75 commercial chassis spec glass that is exactly the same, meaning the roof, the chassis, the engine, almost, it's not the exact same engine. The dashboard, the seats, everything in this car, even the brakes, everything is 1959 to 1960 spec, which makes this car a very good donor if you want to make it a 1959. It actually is possible underneath. There are some changes with the core support, the front clip, the this, the that, but that's all, you know, changeable with the right welder and fabrication skills that I don't really have. But you'll look down here and you'll see along the length, you'll see this trim panel. Now you'll notice that this part is actually removable because every single panel of this is designed to be a 1959 to 60 quarter panel, basically. This is the same, you know, shape, you know, at least from this side and flush as a 61 to 62 Cadillac. These are special only to the ambulances and hearses because it's like a mix of the 59 to 60 and a 61 to 62. You know, 61, 62 up here, 59 to 60 in this area, so it bolts up to that old school chassis they had. This is actually a bolt-on for the first part of that trim line, and then the rest is actually part of the doors. So when I get a 1959 body, I will have to cut this little trim piece out and do flat steel right there. But it really shouldn't be that noticeable. I'm sure other people in the forums have done it. I haven't seen it yet, but no, actually I have. It has been done. It's just, you know, it takes a little while. Rockers are gonna have to be replaced, but that's not a 59 to 60 thing. Going down here, I will have to take I forget what these are covered. I guess just a wheel cover. I'll have to take one from a 59 as well because I won't be able to use this one. All of this quarter panel will cut off. I'm not sure exactly how to swap a quarter panel. I've never done it before, but it seems easy enough with the right, you know, team. One thing I'll have to make sure of is that I find a quarter panel long enough, because this quarter panel, you know, there's about, let's see, six inches maybe of space between the wheel and the door. And the sedans only have about 2 to 3, I believe, or maybe none at all. And the coupe and the limo are the ones that have this long quarter panel. Actually, the coupe and limo are longer, which I'd much rather have because I want to have more quarter panel than less than I need. Going back around here, everything back here is the same except for the bumper. Once I take a 1959 bumper, we're going to have to cut a little step. And then on the ECTO-1, they had an optional step bumper. And I'm kind of a purist for stuff like that. I will have to make a replica of that myself. In here, that's not really much to see. It's all empty. You can see that video up here. Nothing around here will have to be changed. Just same thing as the other side. Let's go over to the ambulance, though, because this one is where a lot of the parts are going to be coming off of. Now, this is my 1962 wrecked ambulance. I've named it the ECTO-1. That's the start of this project. I was originally going to build it, and then the transport company had some fun with it. So it's not really usable anymore. Aw, look at my little calf. Look at my little calf. Oh. All right, back to the ECTO-1. So this car is going to end up saving me a good amount of time and money with stuff that I'm going to be using off of it. I've already used a couple small engine components, power steering lines, brake lines. Those are about to come off in the next video. Trans lines already came off of this one. A brake line is also going to come off in the next video. Let's start with this. This is a very close to screen accurate, what is it? Spotlight, I guess. They're very common, but the brackets and frames are always different on these, just from whatever car it came off of. I really want to use this one, and I have a clean one here. So this is the one I found in the swap meet. I think I spent like 15 bucks on it or something. Really good condition, a little bit pitted, but I mean, you can see our reflection. Looks pretty damn good. So we're gonna use this top with the framing and bracket from the other one, because the other one's actually built for this. I have no idea what this came out of. It could have been anything. These have been used for decades and decades. So I'm not going to use any of the bottom part. I might use a gears too, something like that. But this top is going to be used, and it's going to be very close to screen accurate. Only difference is it doesn't have a little rear view mirror on the back, but I don't really care that much about that. I'm going to be taking this whole assembly out, bracket and all, once I get a 1959 quarter panel for the front clip. And once I've installed those, I will drill the hole in, install this with the different head. That'll be one of the first ECTO-1 screen accurate parts that I use. Going back over here, what else? Okay, let's talk about the glass. Going down this side of the car, this does have everything I'd need, at least for the driver's side. It does have one corner window, very rare, very hard to find. One side glass that I won't even be able to use because it says ambulance on it, so I'm still going to have to get that cut and custom made. But it's not difficult because these are flat, plain, double pane glass, so it won't be difficult. I'll just have to spend some more money. Great. I will be using this piece of, what is it called? Water drip stopper something. I'll be using that. And nothing else, I don't believe. I don't think there's anything else on the side I'm going to be using other than very soon I will be taking this glass out. Well, as soon as I find out how to get this off, that's another battle I'm going to have to fight. But that's everything on this side. Now let's go over to the other side so I can show you the interior. All right, guys, so taking a look at this interior, I've filmed it a good couple of times on the channel so far. You might not see, it might not look like much to you, but this is actually very, very good for me because this is a complete non-rotted interior because this car was a California/Utah car, and most of everything in here is going to be usable, which is going to save me a lot. Unfortunately, the back door cover, I don't have that in either car, so I'm kind of shit out of luck on that. But all of this trim along the top, let's see, all the floor, all of that is wood sheeting with linoleum on top. So they get rotted out on all these cars, so it's very uncommon to find one that's actually usable or worth a damn at all. This seat, I will be getting it recovered because it got damaged in the wreck. I think it was up when everything smashed in, so this made contact. So the outside isn't very usable, but yeah, it's kind of bad. But I'm still going to be, using it. I'm just not going to be using the top furnishing part. Over here, it is a little bit different than the ECTO-1. You'll see it more noticeably in Afterlife that this section is not existent. I believe the actual seating is a little different on the 1959. I believe that's supposed to have some kind of air vent or something. It's a little different, but basically the same. You've got the seating area, you got a seat here, you got a backward seat here, and it's the same as the ECTO-1, just with slight differences. For instance, this desk. I've never seen this desk in any other Miller Meteor. I don't know how rare it is. I don't know anything about it, but we're going to be taking it out, probably painting it black or something, and putting it in the ECTO-1. This seat I will be keeping until I find someone crazy enough to help me build a gunner seat. I'm not really into doing the gunner seat because the gunner seat in the actual car from Afterlife, it seemed like it wasn't really built well, and the top of the door doesn't really sit flush against the body, so it doesn't really seal. I don't know about that. We'll consider it if I find a way to do it a little better, or a way to do it at all for first. But yeah, take all this out, put it in the other car. It should be pretty easy to remove, seat and all. We're going to be taking all this, painting all the furnishing black, keeping all the trim polished aluminum just because that looks awesome. And everything that is covered in linoleum, the linoleum will come off and coin rubber flooring, like this picture I'm posting right now, because the ECTO-1 had gray coin rubber. Now, I kind of want to go black. I don't really like the gray coin rubber as much. I think it kind of makes it look, more easy to get dirty. I don't know. I kind of like the black a little better. Seems more professional. Seems more like, kick-ass to me. We're going to be using all this stuff just because it'll be a little cheaper than building it myself. It'll also be a lot quicker. I'll be able to put that in mine, this little switch. It'll be a nice addition because when you go into this car, my actual project, you see it's just kind of boring. It doesn't look anything like the ECTO-1. It doesn't really look very inviting. Now, granted, I do have a lot of crap in it, but even if you don't have crap in it, it's just a bunch of, rusty brown metal. So all of this over here will be getting cut out and new metal going in its place. Back here, everything will be getting sanded down, POR 15 rust treated. The glass will be cut out, installed in there, so we'll have more natural light. I'm going to take all these screens off once I can get the screws. The screws are kind of fighting me on that and that. Those screens are not stock. The guy just drilled them in. But that is another difference on this car. This door panel inside is from the ECTO-1. It's from this door. You'll see this over here. This is actually a spot for a pull-up screen where you'd pull it up, and then they had a little notch that I'm going to install on this one where you could just hang it. I think that's a really cool feature, and I will be installing that. Just the problem is these screws are kind of fighting me. They're probably 50 years old. Those screws were probably put in the 70s or 80s, so they need to go. They're just taking a little while. But I will be putting the door panels out of the ECTO-1. I've got one more to put on this door. I will be installing this trim over there so I can have both with a pull-up slide. The fabric material will have to be redone, but I've got all the framework. It seems pretty easy to put in. The seat is going to stay in. That is a basically brand new seat. That window is going to be coming out of the ambulance very soon. Now, you'll see that I actually seem to have an answer for everything. The reason it's taking a while is because I don't want to do any of this until the car is driving, for one. This is all not as important as the body to me, and the most important thing to me is getting the car driving, getting all the props for the roof, which I'm about to go into in a minute, and getting the 1959 donor car so I can convert the body. And that brings me into how we're going to make it look like the ECTO-1. So here is what you should expect to see on the channel in the coming months, and hopefully not years, but let's say months. Step one is going to be very soon, getting it actually driving, which should not take very long unless another wrench gets thrown in the plans. Hey, look, a skink. Oh, it left. Okay. Which shouldn't take very long. It should basically be done hopefully within the month. As you can see, everything's pretty much dialed in. There's just a little bit of things I need to button up, and because I don't want to break the engine, I just got it running. Next thing you're going to see is a very temporary spray paint job. Now, if you look at my good buddy over in Dallas, the ECTO Texas on Instagram, he has done some really incredible stuff this last month or so. He's got a 1959, which he doesn't have to change the body panels. Good for him. He did a spray paint job with his friends, and they actually did a really good job. It looks fantastic. I'm not sure what it looks like up close. I haven't seen it yet, but I can tell you it looks good enough for cameras, and that's about all I care about right now. I just want to make some good videos with this car, and I want it to look like the ECTO-1. So step two is going to be a temporary spray paint job. I have talked to a company about making me the vinyl decals for the doors and one for the back. That shouldn't be too much money. Should be kind of easy. I'm not really worried about that as much. After that, then the roof. That will be another series. One thing I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm going to spoil it in the end of my next driving video. Once the car's driving, I will let you know a little bit more of what I already have set up for this. But we'll be installing lights. We'll be doing a roof rack. We'll be getting rid of all this crap because this is not stock Miller Meteor at all. This is just some hippie crap that the last owner, I assume, put on. I wish I could ask him why, but you know, he's passed away, so I can't. I don't know if he ever used them. I don't know if they were beneficial. You know, they might be factory Miller. There might be some one-of-one option, but I don't care. They're going in the trash unless I find out something. They sure don't seem stock to me, especially with these screws. Anyways, we will be doing a roof rack. We will probably not be doing the ladder yet, and we will not be doing components in the rack because there is a weight issue that also, I just noticed, you see that? You see that dark? I'm sorry about that. That's kind of distracting. I'm sorry about that. If that makes it hard to watch, I'm sorry. But before we do that, we are going to get everything. We got hood button back up. We're going to get this glass installed. It's kind of hard to get these frames off. I don't know how to get the frame off, so I can't get the door window in yet. Window will be in, hood will be back on, engine will be running and driving. We are not going to do any rust repair just yet. Like I said, this is going to be a temporary paint job because I want to have the car looking like the ECTO-1 within the next month or two. I want the rack, I want the lights, I want the paint, and I want the symbols. Now, the rust doesn't really bother me that much because this rocker will be getting cut out as soon as I get some more money, and we are going to be leaving the damage. We might sand this a little bit just to stop it from getting worse, maybe a little rust preventative primer on it. But this damage right down here, we're actually not going to do anything with. The rockers, we might do a little POR 15 over it. Damage like right here, just the rust and everything falling apart. We're not going to worry about this because every bit that is rusted is getting cut off and changed anyways within the next year or so. So I'm not really going to invest any time or money into that. Plus, the ECTO-1 in the new movie is rusted anyways. So, damage like that, or, doing the conversion where I cut that trim piece out, I'm not really going to worry about right now because that's going to be down the road. We're Currently, we're planning to do a stage 1 and a stage 2 of the build. Where stage 1, it will be cheap. It will be spray painted. Look, I'm a college student, all right? I'm not a 50-year-old Cadillac restorer. I don't have the funds. I don't have the means. I don't have the time. We will be doing a cheap spray paint. Look, this car can take it. It's lived this long being neglected. It can last 1 year with spray paint on it. We'll be using those turbo cans just because I want to try them out. I see them all the time. I see a lot of YouTube videos where people are painting with them. We are going to be sanding all of the roof down, and that will take quite a long time. We'll probably do a rough sanding on this paint just so we can get it to where it can attach, to where the turbo can paint can stick to it. We'll be removing these. We'll be trying to remove this panel. I hope I can. Sanding all of this crinkle coat down because this is actually the way the paint looked from the factory on the roof. Sorry about my nails. I've been working on this car. We'll be taking all that off, taking all this off, sanding this down to flat, and spray painting it white. That will be very soon. Once we have a roof rack installed, I've already talked to someone about purchasing some of the, I can't go into detail, blah, blah, blah. Can't talk too much. After that, the car will honestly, for a little while, be done. Now, once I find a 1959 coupe, limo, or sedan that I can rip the body panels off of, we'll be doing a complete front clip conversion. We'll be doing a quarter panel conversion. And then we'll be waiting for me to locate... Shut up. We will be looking for the trim and windows and that I need off of this car because I only have the driver's side. I can't really install one side of the glass. I kind of need to wait for both. So we're going to be waiting. I've been looking for a long time now, trying to find one side, just the driver glass or passenger side glass, the trim, the molding, everything, just so I can cut this metal out, put it on. Because I only need one side. Put them both on, and then with the 59 stuff, with the tail fins, with the front clip, with the glass, after that, it will look exactly like the car. And then we can move into metal repair with the floor, with the rockers. And then after that, real paint job. Maybe put some more props on, and then that will be the stage 2 of the car until the engine blows up. And then we'll probably do some sort of LS because that is the end goal with this car, is to have an LS. I don't really want to invest that kind of money right now. That's why I went with this $500 engine, because I can spend $500 pretty easily. I cannot spend $2,000 to $3,000 easily. I don't have the metal fab skills for the tranny mounts I would need or any of that. So we're just going to stick with this until it blows up. We're going to stick with this front clip until I find a 59 donor. We're going to stick with the spray paint until I have the funds to do proper paint and rust repair. It is all in the plan, but it's going to take a long time for that plan to go into action. I just had a really, really interesting idea, and I don't know if I'm going to go with it. I'm going to talk to a couple pros, but it's very possible that I won't have to. I'm filming this like an hour or two after the last couple things. I don't think I'll have to find the window trim that I thought I needed, because I just had the thought. So I have this trim. I have the trim that goes along the top, and I have the trim that goes along the bottom. It's still on, and I have the inner trim for the top and bottom. Now the top stuff is really bent. The bottom is fine. And I have this. This is the one that goes right here for the window support. Now, I just thought, well, what if, so I need to get this piece and I need this piece. And I thought, well, what if I could make it? And I just looked, and on my doors that are surviving, I have this vertical trim that obviously, so the back is completely different. It's like a full solid piece. It's kind of a lot different from the back, but it is the same from the front. It's the exact same width, same height, everything. I have this piece that angles like this that I can maybe use right here in angles. And I have this piece over here, right there. And that piece will go up and angle right there. Guys, I'm going to talk to a couple people and say, what would it take to maybe brush them up, get rid of some of those scuffs and scrapes and black crud on them, and cut the backs, modify them. Now, they are aluminum, so I need to talk to an aluminum welder to see if maybe we wouldn't have to go wait for parts. Meaning, within a year, lighting's really bad. Within a year, we could actually do the windows. Now, the only thing is I would have to do a plexiglass corner window. Like I said earlier, those windows are made of unobtainium, like you just can't find them. I have one. I might have to wait a little for that other one. But in the meantime, we could very easily do a plexi corner window. I could make that. We could order the side windows, have them permanently mounted. Oh my gosh, that's so smart. Oh my gosh. So if this part is in the video, that means that I have talked to someone that said it's at least possible. That might not mean we're actually going to do it, but it definitely, if this is in the video, that means it's possible. Oh man. Well guys, yeah, that is the plan for the ECTO-1 if you were curious about what we're actually doing with this car. I'm trying to get the car back on the road very soon. Once the car's back on the road, we'll be doing a stage 1 build. It'll be very cheap, and admittedly, it's not going to look perfect. It's going to be spray paint, turbo cans. It's going to be, vinyl decals, roof rack, empty roof rack because there's a weight issue unless you have the roof strengthened, you have braced up. You can't really put a lot of weight on it. So we're going to do an empty rack, do some lights, maybe. Can't really spoil it too much. And then once I get the money, we'll be doing a 59 body swap. As soon as I find one, we will be doing a full, resto, full, probably engine swap if the engine has not lasted that long. Be doing an LS build. We'll be doing the 59 conversion, do the rust repair, probably, strengthen the brake, do better brakes, probably a better rear end, things like that, good exhaust. Just the basic classic car crap you've seen a million times. But right now it's going to be a budget build because I'm a college student and I work, I don't make a huge amount of money. So until I end up making any more money, or until I end up getting to 1,000 subscribers to where I can put money into this car from YouTube, it's not really going to be a huge build. Hopefully at some point, God willing, inshallah, the car will be built with some money, but not yet. But I hope y'all will be as patient as I am, and I hope you stick around for the videos. Well, guys,
I just wanna be the one you love.
早上好，中国！现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是有冰淇淋。现在是
在香港这座城市的社区，主演钱和乐。
金钱看齐，墙上写着。